Are you hungry for client results and reviews? Maybe you have been wondering, does Achieve Emotional Mastery actually work? Is it really possible to heal from anxiety, depression, OCD? Maybe you're thinking, you know what? I've got intrusive thoughts. Is there any help for me? Well, today I am not going to be the one talking. I want you to hear directly from one of our successful and happy graduates. I want you to hear and be inspired for your own journey. I want you to know that you're not the only one who's dealing with the shame of intrusive thoughts, guilt that comes with that. But more importantly, I want you to know what you can do to fix it.
Well, I saw an ad pop up. I was on YouTube of all places, and I heard her talk about achieve emotional mastery. And I thought, oh my goodness, it sounds like exactly what I need. And that's how I heard about it. I'd never heard anyone tell me about it. That was my only exposure to it. And it worked, absolutely worked.
Yeah, Katie, my first exposure to it was Katie talking about Staci and how she watched the videos, and she asked about doing a consultation, and so Katie asked me if I would attend that. So that was my first real exposure, was the initial consultation.
I have struggled all my life with OCD and intrusive thoughts. And it got exceedingly worse over the past year. And a lot of the struggles that I had intensified over that period of time. And I think it was a catalyst for me to just finally face things that I had always struggled with. But it became so much worse that I just had to do something about it. And I felt hopeless at the time that I signed up for the program, and it was exactly what I needed. Came at just the right time too. The anxiety that it brought on would be so intense. Before the program, I would confidently say that it was all the waking hours that I had 24/7 anxiety. It never let up. And it was a lot of, there was a lot of self condemnation over the intrusive thought. It just intensified so much. And every waking hour, I couldn't sleep a lot of the time. So, a heightened sense of anxiety that never let up. It interfered with work, interfered with concentration, just daily life, and altogether really just completely took away my enjoyment of life altogether. And I'm not exaggerating by saying that at all. And that's something that I got back with this program.
For me, I think it was hard recognizing and realizing how difficult it was for Katie, and having the perspective of it being, I think, manageable was probably a challenging thing, because I wanted to do something to help, but I think the biggest barrier there was that I wasn't sure what to do. And Katie had tried a number of things to help, and we had not really found something that got to the core of what the issue was.
I loved Staci the minute I met her online. She was wonderful, and she really had this calming presence. And she really asked deep, probing questions. Highlighted certain areas that I needed to address, and I knew that from the way she talked, the way she carried herself, I was like, well, this is what I need. And I knew she was going to be a great coach. But yeah, that first impression was great. I remember her asking a lot of, when this anxiety comes, how do you feel? She asked like physiological questions too. It was just very, very thorough. And as a nurse, I really appreciate that. I appreciate a good, thorough assessment. So I really, I liked her from the moment I met her, and I everything she talked about, what to expect, would this be right for you? Perfectly in line with what I felt that I needed at the time. And I'm so thankful for it.
Yeah, the breakthrough session for me was it was a little challenging because I didn't know what to expect. And Staci did ask questions that were very honest and I think they were the right questions asked, to see what we'd done and what Katie needed. And I think it was hard for me because I'm the type of person that can be hesitant or can be uh, need to feel like I need to know more. And with Staci, she asked me to be decisive. For me, for Katie, I think she was totally ready, and for me, I just wasn't sure. But the time we spent there helped me, I think, get to that opportunity to say, "Yeah, I'm ready." Because if Katie has done all this research, all this work, if she's really put in the work, then we need to take the opportunity to, um, I think, ultimately work on this for her and for us.
I think it was a bit scary taking the plunge, and she would ask you questions that needed to be asked, like, are you willing to put in the work that it's going to take? And I said, yes, I'm not a quitter. I'm ready for this. And I'm not afraid of hard work. And I think you really do need to have that attitude going into it, because you will need to commit. And that's super important. And I felt like that meeting prepared me for that, to know what was expected of me.
Being part of the breakthrough session it was important because being married means that anything she's doing to help herself, really we're doing together. And so I think me being there, one, helped us come to a decision on whether or not to be a part of the program. But I think it also helped align the two of us as to what was needed and where we were going to go with things. Because for me, I participated along with Katie, not only in the breakthrough session, but later on with the full program. And I think that being a part of it just meant that we would support each other.
I think as a married couple, you make decisions together, and that's a major decision. Also, it's a two-person commitment. It wasn't just for me. And we both very much benefited from the program. So it was really for both of us. So it was important that we were both there.
Right.
I felt like after talking to Coach Staci, that on the breakthrough session, I was sure that that's exactly what I needed. And really, at the point where I was, I felt very hopeless, and this felt like the light at the end of the tunnel. And knowing that all the principles that we learned in the program, which she explained in the breakthrough session, are all based on Scripture. That was hugely important to me, and that I knew that this Achieve Emotional Mastery program would have the power to transform based on Scripture, based on what I believed in, and that was the essential ingredient that you wouldn't find elsewhere. It just felt like me the hope that I needed at the time, and from her description and her explanations and the way she answered our questions, I was thoroughly convinced. So
I think I started Achieve Emotional Mastery because my wife and Katie both, I think the breakthrough session challenged me. It challenged me to say, are you going to do something meaningful to help? And I think that achieving emotional mastery was that meaningful step, or was the meaningful step I take is by us doing it. And within that, I was asked in the breakthrough meeting to be decisive, to decide whether or not this was something that mattered, and to trust Katie, because I had to trust that what she'd seen and what she knew was going to be good for her and good for me and useful. And so I think that was part of it. And like Katie said, I think the biblical focus was a big part of that. Knowing that we were putting our trust in someone who was ultimately choosing to help us and choosing to help us with a basis in God's word made the biggest difference to me. I think that's the thing that made me say, okay, I can do this and we can do it together.
I wanted my life back, basically. I thought, this can only help, and I thought, I'm not afraid to put in the work and time. And I have faith that this will help. Something has to help. I mean, I hate to use the word desperate, but that fits how I felt at the time. And it was exactly what I needed.
It was one of those things that it very much felt like, oh, here are all these things that I need to change, but here's the roadmap of how to do that. And it's not all done in 1 week. First, there was a nervousness to it. It just turned into a place where I felt like we were learning, we were growing. We were also being very honest and being asked honest questions and being asked to really examine ourselves. And so it went from something, there was a nervousness, anxiety, to being something that I look forward to helping us move and grow.
I'll second that. To me, it felt like a safe place. When you struggle with intrusive thoughts, there's so much shame and guilt and self-condemnation involved with that. And you are forced to be vulnerable and share and talk about your struggles. And I was not met with any judgment, condemnation, nothing that was going on in my head. I was met with love and compassion and encouragement. And that is exactly what my heart and mind needed. I was so grateful.
And that's also where we learn how to use the mind transformation process. I feel like MTP is something we could chant, but it really was something that, was probably the biggest tool in learning within the achieving emotional mastery, the room that we were in.
So many results. Where do I even start, Jordan? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I feel like I came away with so many tools in my basket. And I can honestly say I feel like I'm more myself now than I was a year ago. I am me again. I have my life back again. Now I have hope and I have victory, whereas before I just felt hopeless. So now I'm moving from victory to victory is how I would put that. I'm a warrior. I'm not who I was a year ago. And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, I know I definitely started to seek God more often because I saw that as an area in which I needed to improve.
And I feel like as a married couple, we definitely benefited twice as much with the Achieve Emotional Mastery because we both had to put in the work and the effort and do our homework. It wasn't just one person, it was both of us. And then we had each other to keep each other accountable. I had tried medication. No, that did not help. I had tried counseling therapy. It didn't go deep enough. I needed, I don't know. I didn't need a Band-Aid. I needed a wound debridement. I just needed the whole thing. I needed something that would go to the root of the issues that I was working with, and give me tools for success in life. I wanted my life back, and I knew it would require a lot of hard work and diligence. And this was exactly what I wanted. This was more than what I even thought. This was just a miracle, really. And it came at exactly the right time. Like I said, I feel like I got my life back, which I thought was a lofty goal. I was hoping for that, but I thought, oh my goodness, if I could get half that. But I got more than I ever imagined I could. there's a verse I love, Ephesians 3:20. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ask or imagine. And to me, that describes Achieve Emotional Mastery. He did more than I could have imagined, and I'm so grateful. I would encourage anyone to be a part of this because it has helped me so much. And I feel like everybody probably thinks their issues are severe. I think I could honestly say mine were. And if it could help me, it can help anyone.
For me, I think what ended up being different is, well, in part that I was encouraged to be a part of it was one part of it, but the way that Achieving Emotional Mastery got to cover everything, I think, to cover our emotional, to cover our spiritual, to cover our physical. Like, it didn't try to just deal with symptoms, which I think is kind of what maybe Katie had dealt with, is a lot of kind of dealing with individual symptoms, whether it was medication to help with that or therapy. Those things helped in one very specific way. And I think Achieving Emotional Mastery said to us, or spoke to us in the way that we had to treat our body well. We had to take care of ourselves. I think that was significant because it did come from so many different angles, but it was meant to address everything that contributed to the issues that we have.
Working with Staci and her team was revolutionary, extraordinary, the best experience. They're as committed to your success as you are.
Yeah, and I think working with Staci and her team was encouraging. Everything that we did was meant to work towards helping us heal. And so even when we had some moments of accountability, or some times where we were maybe asked some questions that we would feel were tough, but were reasonable questions, Staci, as well as her team, was there to help us navigate our way through it. And that was kind of the biggest difference, was going through it instead of avoiding it or going around it, making a way for us to be able to deal with the things that we had a challenge with.
I really would like to say that they are as committed as you are in your victory and your healing. I found that so refreshing and honestly unexpected, because I thought, well, nobody's going to want this as much as I do, but they do. They want it for you, and they're cheering you on every step of the way. I would say jump in and do it. Don't hesitate. It is worth it. Yes, it's scary to make that commitment. Yes, you're going to have to work hard, but it is life changing, and you will get your life back. If you are like me and you feel hopeless or desperate, overwhelmed, do it. Don't even question it. Do it.
Yeah, I would say if anybody is kind of scared to take the next step and make a decision, my encouragement would be, assess why you're here and what you're doing, and see that there is a path forward, and deciding to take that next step is a really crucial way that you're going to help yourself.
It's even helped draw us closer in our marriage. It had beneficial impact in areas I didn't really expect or didn't even think needed improvement even, but we're closer, and we see God together. There were so many benefits, even unexpected benefits, more than what we thought.
I just love Katie and Jordan, and I can completely relate to Katie's struggle, and so many of our clients have expressed these same concerns and agonizing guilt, and now they're walking in freedom. If you are ready and looking for this type of transformation for your own life, then your next step is simple. Go to stacirivera.com/freedom and check out our free masterclass. It's what Katie did, and it was the first step in changing everything.